All right. Good evening, everyone. So, today I'm coming back to you because we need to get some common sense. We need to have common sense enter into the equation as it relates to Intro 606 in New York, which seeks to license e-bikes and e-mobility, micro-mobility, all that. So, yeah, we've got this awkward exchange going on, and Shabazz Stewart is like, I'm still in disbelief about 606. He's like, I'm still in disbelief about 606. Every city that has tried to do it thinks it's terrible. Every transportation expert thinks it's terrible. It would cost many millions of dollars and take years to implement. And yet here we are creating a new city DMV for bikers and scooters. It's just not realistic. They would have to be, their technology organization in New York would have to be an order of magnitude better than it is right now. So we just aren't even in the realm of, like, in my opinion, even thinking about discussing that. So yeah. So this is the crazy part. But you got all these like fake, bot type accounts, trolling. And I understand there are a lot of victims of street violence, or what you want to call like people being hit by e-bikes and all that. But we have to be responsible and we have to think clearly about the safety of New York City. And if your goal is safety, then, you want actual results, not, cosplay that, while it might make you feel good in the short term, doesn't actually make you safe. So, yeah. So another thing I wanted to point out also with this video is that most people are not talking about this here in the discussion, but a lot of delivery riders, on the delivery apps, they don't actually use their own information. They're not actually putting in their own information. And so you introduce e-bike licensing into the equation, and they're using somebody's information already. So now you've got these e-bikes, and to be honest, you don't know who. If you don't stop them right there, even if you got the license plate, you don't know who you're actually going to get and who you're actually stopping. So while you may say, oh, well, the license plate was there, but they may not have been riding the bike. Hell, the bike could have been stolen, or the license plate could have been stolen. You don't know what you've got, and it's going to add an order of magnitude more investigative work to the New York City Police Department's job. It's going to make it infinitely harder, and it's going to make it infinitely harder to prove in court when something does happen, because you're going to have the wrong people showing up, and the court system's going to be tied up, and then a lot of people who are going to be unfairly targeted. It's going to be a huge mess. I mean, a huge mess, huge waste of time, a huge mess. I cannot stress that enough, that this new e-bike legislation that these people are proposing, I saw Eric Butcher's name on there, which I was shocked to see, and Gail Brewer's name on there. I get it. Old people are mean, but that doesn't mean you need to cave to their craziest demands. Like, they're not going to be around to deal with all the problems with some of these policies they're putting in place. That's why in Ta-Nehisi Coates' latest book, The Message, he was like, I'm not afraid of young people protesting. I'm afraid of old people passing ridiculous laws that are going to hurt me, because that is what they do. They have nothing but time on their hands, and they're angry at the world, and then they start passing laws that end up hurting the younger generation. So, all this to say, make sure we need to oppose Intro 606, the e-bike licensing law, vehemently, because it doesn't work and nobody's been able to prove it works. Everybody repeals it. So, in any case, let me know what you think down in the comments about New York's e-bike licensing law. And yeah. So, oh, and on here, yeah, you can see Antonio Reynoso, the Brooklyn Borough President's opposition to the e-bike law here on the screen. Yeah. Intro 606 will create more problems than it solves. The bill's definitions are far too broad and conflate several classes of vehicles to the extent that one could interpret it as including motorized wheelchairs and other similar mobility devices. Additionally, mopeds, motorized vehicles, and just like cars, they do not belong in bike lanes, on sidewalks, or in parks. The administrative code is already clear on the issue. All classes of mopeds are requiring licenses. E-bikes are different. They are slower, predominantly operated by pedal assist, helping riders climb hills, making it easier for New Yorkers with disabilities to get around. Intro 606. Instead of Intro 606, I urge the City Council, both as lawmakers of the city and as leaders in their neighborhoods, to devote their attention to better engineering on New York City streets. Observers of these streets will note their orientation towards cars with wide lanes, a smattering of paint, rampant double parking, obstructed crosswalks, loading zones, and widespread fraudulent license plates and placard abuse. It should be no surprise that one would intuit that traffic is every person for themselves in New York City. As proposed, Intro 606 will do nothing to improve our streets and will instead equip NYPD with yet another tool to harass and intimidate hard working class New Yorkers, many of them whom are immigrants and who are likely to face threats from an incoming federal administration. Some of the sponsors of Intro 606 are fully aware of this and anticipate it with glee. Crime is already illegal. Running red lights is already legal. Blocking the sidewalk with a car is already illegal. Riding a bike is not and should not be made illegal. That is the Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso's statement on Intro 606. So, Mark Levine, we are waiting for your statement on Intro 606. And in any case, I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. All right. Ciao, ciao.